Hi, everyone. It's Sarah. I want to start today by telling you something that took me a very long time to admit to myself. I am not perfect. I have never been perfect, and for a long, exhausting stretch of my life, I tried to be anyway. I tried so hard. I tried to be the perfect student, the perfect employee, the perfect friend, the perfect daughter. I tried to have the perfect apartment, the perfect wardrobe, the perfect answers in meetings, the perfect responses in difficult conversations. I tried to look perfect, perform perfectly, and handle everything in my life with a kind of effortless, unruffled competence that suggested I had it all completely together all of the time. Unruffled means calm and undisturbed, showing no signs of stress or difficulty, even when things are hard. I did not have it all together all of the time. Nobody does. But I worked very, very hard to make sure nobody could see that. And today I want to talk about the moment that changed. The moment I finally, exhaustedly, reluctantly, and then with enormous relief, stopped. Because stopping was the best thing I ever did. Not just for my own peace and well-being, but for every relationship, every piece of work, every experience I have had since. I think perfectionism starts somewhere specific for most people, a particular environment, a particular message received early, a particular experience that taught you, consciously or not, that being perfect was the way to be safe, to be loved, to be enough. For me, and I have thought about this carefully over the years, it started with being good at school. I was a good student from very early on. I worked hard, I paid attention, I cared deeply about doing well. And the feedback I received for that was consistently positive. Praise from teachers, pride from my parents, a sense of identity built around being capable and high achieving. High achieving means consistently performing at a high level, getting good results, meeting high standards. That felt wonderful, and somewhere along the way, without anyone intending it, without any single moment I can point to, I absorbed a belief. The belief that my value as a person was connected to my performance, that being good, being excellent, being impressive, being above criticism was what made me worthy of love and respect and belonging. Worthy means deserving of something, having enough value to merit it. That belief followed me out of school and into my adult life. And in adult life, unlike in school where the criteria for success are relatively clear, the standards for perfection become impossible to define, and therefore impossible to reach, and therefore you are always, always falling short. It is exhausting, genuinely deeply exhausting, not just because of the effort of trying, but because of the constant internal evaluation, the running commentary in your own head that assesses every action, every word, every decision against an impossible standard, and always, always finds something that could have been better. I lived with that commentary for years, and I thought it was just how my mind worked. I thought it was normal. I thought everyone had a voice in their head telling them all the things they did wrong, all the ways they fell short, all the evidence that they were not quite good enough. Not everyone does, and the ones who do, it's not serving them. The moment things started to change was not a single dramatic event. It was a Tuesday afternoon in my late 20s, sitting at my desk at work. I had just finished a presentation, a big one, months of preparation, high stakes, a room full of important people. I had prepared obsessively. I'd rehearsed until I could deliver every section perfectly from memory. I had anticipated every possible question and prepared detailed answers. I had chosen my outfit 3 days in advance. I had arrived 30 minutes early. The presentation went well, really well. My manager told me afterward it was one of the best she had seen from anyone on our team. The client was pleased, several colleagues congratulated me in the hallway, and I sat at my desk afterward, and I felt nothing. Not proud, not relieved, not happy, just already looking for the things I could have done better. The moment I stumbled slightly over one sentence in the third section, the one slide where I had talked slightly too fast, the question at the end that I had answered adequately but not brilliantly. Brilliantly means in an exceptionally impressive and intelligent way. I sat there cataloging my own imperfections in a presentation that everyone else found excellent, and something in me, some tired, honest, fed-up part of me, thought, what is this for? What is this actually for? Not the hard work, not the preparation, those were valuable, but this relentless, joyless, never satisfied picking apart something that had gone well, what was this giving me? What was this protecting me from? What was this for? I did not have a good answer, and the absence of a good answer was the beginning of something. I started talking to a therapist around that time. A therapist is a trained professional who helps you understand and work through your thoughts, feelings, and patterns of behavior. I had resisted therapy for years, partly because of the perfectionist belief that needing help was a sign of not coping well enough, of not being strong enough, which, looking back, is one of the more perfect examples of perfectionism defeating itself. One of the most important things my therapist said to me early on, simply and directly, was this: perfectionism is not about standards, it's about fear. I sat with that for a long time. Perfectionism is not about standards, it's about fear. What she meant was this: true high standards are healthy. Caring about quality, working hard, wanting to do things well, those are genuinely good qualities. But perfectionism is something different. Perfectionism is driven not by a love of excellence, but by a fear of what happens if you're not excellent. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being seen as not enough. Fear that if you show an imperfect version of yourself, people will stop loving you, respecting you, wanting you around. Perfectionism, she said, is armor. It's the thing you build around yourself to protect yourself from the vulnerability of being seen as human. Armor means a protective covering, originally the metal suits worn by knights in battle. Used here as a metaphor, something you wear to protect yourself from being hurt. And the painful irony of that armor, she continued, is that it keeps out not just the criticism you're afraid of, it keeps out the genuine connection you need, because genuine connection requires being real, being imperfect, being seen completely, not just the impressive, together, high-performing version, but the confused, struggling, uncertain, fully human version too. I cried a little in that session. I'm not embarrassed about that. Sometimes the truth arrives in a way that your body recognizes before your mind does. So, what changed? Slowly, everything. I stopped trying to have a perfect answer for every question and started saying, I don't know. I'll find out. I stopped trying to handle every difficulty alone and started asking for help. I stopped rewriting emails 5 times until they were flawless and started sending them when they were good enough. I stopped performing calm when I was not calm and started saying, actually, I am finding this difficult right now. Each of those small surrenders, and they felt like surrenders at first, each one, turned out to be the opposite of weakness. Each one was a small act of courage, and each one brought something back in return. When I said, I don't know, people trusted me more, not less, because honesty is more credible than performed confidence. When I asked for help, people felt closer to me, because asking for help says, I trust you, and being trusted is a gift. When I sent the email that was good enough instead of perfect, the world did not end, and I had time and energy left for things that mattered more. And when I said, I am finding this difficult, the people who cared about me moved closer, not away, closer. Because that is what people who genuinely love you do when you show them something real. I learned, slowly, with practice, with many backslides, that imperfection is not the thing that keeps people away. It is often the thing that draws people in. Because imperfection is human, and humans connect with what is human. Backslides means moments of returning to an old behavior after making progress, taking steps backward. I want to be honest about one more thing. Letting go of perfectionism did not mean letting go of caring. I still care deeply about my work. I still try hard. I still want to do things well. Those qualities did not disappear, and I would not want them to. What changed was the relationship between my effort and my worth. I stopped tying my value as a person to the quality of my output. I stopped believing that a mistake made me less lovable. I stopped treating every imperfection as evidence of fundamental inadequacy. Inadequacy means not being good enough, falling short of what is required or expected. I started, and this is still a practice, still something I work on, treating myself with the same gentleness I would offer a good friend. If a friend came to me and said, "I stumbled over a sentence in my presentation," I would not catalog their failures with them. I would say, "It went well. You did something hard and you did it well. Be proud." I am learning to say that to myself. Not perfectly, not every time, but more often than before, and more genuinely. And that shift in how I speak to myself, how I hold my own imperfections, how I extend to myself the basic human grace I would give to anyone I loved, has changed my life more than any achievement, any impressive performance, any perfect presentation ever did. Basic human grace means the simple, compassionate kindness that every human being deserves, including yourself. So, if you are someone who recognizes yourself in this story, someone who pushes hard, holds yourself to impossible standards, and never quite feels like enough no matter what you achieve, I want to say something to you directly. You are already enough. Not when you achieve the next thing, not when you finally get it right, not when you reach some future version of yourself that never stumbles or struggles or falls short. Right now, as you are, with all the things you haven't figured out yet, with all the mistakes you have made, with all the ways you are still learning and growing and becoming, you are enough right now. And the people who truly love you, they are not loving the perfect version of you. They're loving the real one, the one who tries hard and sometimes fails, the one who doesn't always have the right answer, the one who is beautifully, completely, irreducibly human. Let them love that version, because that version is you. And you, all of you, imperfect and trying and real, are worth loving completely. Thank you so much for sitting with me this afternoon, and thank you to Luna for her very important editorial contribution to this story. She is now sitting directly on my notebook, so I think that means we're done. If today's story resonated with you, if something in it felt true and useful, and maybe a little freeing, I hope you carry it with you, and I hope you are a little gentler with yourself today than you were yesterday. If you enjoyed today's story and you want to keep learning natural, real English with stories that go a little deeper, please subscribe to Free Daily English right here on YouTube. New stories every week, completely free, made just for you. Just hit that subscribe button below. Thank you. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I will see you in the next story. Bye-bye.